Good morning and welcome to today's live show. We do have some very big implied volatility today going into, well, AMC earnings last night, but Nvidia earnings coming right around the corner. So we need to pay attention to if we're going to make a floor here. The behavior here is seeming like we are not going to continue to head in that downward direction without seeing some kind of reaction to the upside. So we are paying attention as the positioning of this 2-hour chart. And hello for Bangkok. Hey, that's awesome, Eric. Hey, welcome. Looking for this 2-hour and looking at the positioning here of the MACD, we know that it is possible, right? We know that it is possible when you are this deep into negative territory to end up seeing a positive move. But most of the time, right, this move right here was a lot different than over here. We noticed that we do have these multiple tests of these levels that held divergence almost all the way through for the MACD and RSI, and that is what gave this thing the availability to boom, right? Bounce to the upside. Buyers able to hold it up better while sellers, or you would say maybe even shorts, start to pile on at the low. Are we getting shorts to pile on the low? Well, a lot of the time we want a double dip in some way. So the positioning here should just make us aware that another move down to actually get people really nice and bearish is possible, and we should be looking at that. But you've probably heard me talking about paying attention to if we V-shape here. If we are able to V-shape, that would mean the daily is able to curl up and we're able to take out these highs, and we might see a whole new sequence going into March. So we will be paying attention to that. At this moment, I think the most important thing to watch is first thing that usually happens when you're going to get that 2-hour bounce, and if we are going to V-shape, we most likely will just see a 30-minute divergence or a 30-minute higher low and then be off to the races. So what we want to look for here is, do we see that continued positivity? We are retesting an area that could be pretty damn important. So if we can get through that, that would be nice. That would get us to here, use that as support to actually head higher. That would be a great way to head higher, and that's the higher low that we are overall looking for, and that would be very interesting if we saw that today. Now, something we need to be aware of as well is if we hold the current buying at this moment and it's very lackluster and we see that for a little bit longer and then we curl down, watch for this low to get taken out, some kind of fake out kind of move today that tears us down again, gets people really bearish, and we do have that daily expected move right by the weekly expected move down there at 586.45. So I will be looking for something like this because we do start to run into things like data later this week, right? Today we don't have much, but tomorrow we have GDP, durable goods orders, and then the next day we will actually get some stuff. Actually, we'll get some stuff from Japan tomorrow night, but we're not necessarily looking too deep into that at this moment. We just know that that yen carry trade is kind of on and they're trying to fight against it. But core PCE comes out on Friday as well, and personal income, personal spending. Personal spending is supposed to come way down. Personal income is supposed to come down a little bit, and PCE is supposed to tick up. So very interesting stuff. But if that data comes out as good, we really want to be paying attention to the reactions here, the signals around this time. And then if they do complete and then we get some bad data or something like that, all we have to do is be aware and have our plan in place in case we need to manage risk. If that starts to roll back down, we want to manage risk because you're always at you always have a chance to potentially take out the weekly expected move and crazy stuff happens down there. And for the month of February, you could technically end down here towards 580, and that would make sense by Friday close. So we will have new updated monthly expected moves. So we're going to start saying it now because there's only a couple days left in the month. Join the Patreon if you haven't yet and you've been looking at how we've been treating these weekly and monthly expected moves. You can get updated. It's like the best time to join because you get the most value right up front. You'll get monthly expected moves over the weekend. You'll get those updated weekly expected moves as well. And then we give you daily expected moves for Friday. So tomorrow afternoon, we're actually going to put out the daily expected moves for Friday. And if you take Nvidia per se, and then you do have that expiration on that Friday, well, that can give you a good level to pay attention to for a take profit or maybe a sell. Who knows, right? So Really, I think that the main thing to be paying attention to still for the SPY is going to be this going to stay lackluster and then fall down one more time. That's something that I want to pay attention to. Now, if I'm suggesting that, then I need to see some things from volatility. Now, what do we notice from volatility on the 30-minute chart? It looks like it wants a reaction. Now, here's the interesting thing about volatility for the moment is this MACD was able to go negative a little bit, which means a lower high could very much so be possible here. We'll pay attention if that actually sees some kind of 30-minute move and fails. So that is looking like it wants to create a floor on the 5-minute chart. We are not seeing volatility break down dramatically. We are seeing it hold in almost a wedge here and starting to break to the upside. So maybe that means we need to be paying attention to if this can hold up for a bit, but ends up in that downward direction for that divergence. So that's what we'll be watching for today. It would be in their interest to get people nice and bearish or bullish based on what they want to do for the next 2 trading sessions, right? Qs, if you needed some levels for the Qs, we have 522.96 to the upside and 503.68 to the downside. Now the Qs are one thing that is convincing me, hey, we might just start to see a little more upside react to these type of levels, right? If we can react to these type of levels, that would be fantastic to head to the upside. So we'll see if that's able to happen. Right now, the 30-minute is pretty deep. We did show off those divergences in the futures market in the video last night, just to show you guys how the XPX 500 and the US 100 are showing those hourly reversal signals here. So it would make sense if this thing just takes off. So we'll be paying attention to that. I just think a lot of the time I like my plays to show up in the real trading hours, the regular trading hours, and this is a pretty lackluster move. So if this is going to continue to be lackluster and then curl down, we'll look for that quick divergence. It could be just one of those like spike down kind of moves to get people nice and bearish, and then a nice buy comes in to buy you up so that you can hold that divergence. We'll see for the Qs, but as you test the weekly expected move, it is 68% chance to land above this purple line by the end of the week. So if you make this move down, just be paying attention if you see reversal signals, because you also have the percentages with you that we're going to make a move towards the upside by Friday close, right? We're going to get back above this purple line. If that's not going to be the case, if you don't turn around, you can see something worse. So just be aware of that. You can end up, what is it? I think you can end up like 10 to 20 points lower than here if it really wants to get worse. Very interesting stuff. Now, one thing I did want to mention was DIA. DIA showing a rejection divergence right here, right now. Very interesting to me. As that is seeing, hey, I kind of want to see if I can take back that 5-day moving average. So trying to take back this blue line. We noticed that the 2-hour is trying to cross at the end of the day on a bad confirmation. So really waiting for the next 2-hour bar to tell us, yes, it's go time. But something I wanted you to notice and why I think this could be like a slight upward move that ends up failing is this weekly expected move is right there, and we haven't even had Nvidia earnings. We haven't even had the data come out. We haven't even had data on Friday come out. So I think it's very likely for the DIA to see resistance at this level, and I'm not reading into it more than that. But I'm also trying to think if it's going to run into a weekly expected move very soon, well, what does that mean for the SPY and the Qs? Does it mean that they are going to see that 30-minute pullback? And that's mainly something that I'm looking into at this moment. All right, guys, I think that was a pretty good little overview. I know we're on a little bit early today, so just because I was trying to make sure that I fixed everything, everything's working fine, right? Everyone can hear, everyone can see, everyone can do everything that we're doing normally on these live streams. Does it look good? I'm just making sure, because yesterday we kind of it just wouldn't catch my feed. Welcome back. It's just me saying welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Say it so from your analysis. Well, I think it's definitely possible. Okay, this is too good of a level to not pay attention to. Something that I'm reading into at this moment as far as levels go, though, is if the market maker really wants to make money, that 600 level might be where we actually run into some problems. And then we notice the level of 590 is still important. Now, if we pull this till the end of the week, I want you to see that 595 level. This is why I was paying attention to it. So if we do experience some kind of upward move and then we pull back, I'd be looking for that 595. Very interesting level there. Because what that would mean is this is perfect for how this would want to behave if it wants to get bullish, right? If it wants to get to there and do this scenario, where would it come down to? Well, potentially down towards that 595, maybe even a little deeper than the left shoulder to get down to that 595 and then just turn back up into positive territory. And look where that 595 is too. Like it's kind of right along the channel line, which I'm not a believer that channel lines are like a perfect thing. I almost treat them like areas to pay attention. Like I almost imagine there's like a little zone in here, right? Because we see plenty of those times where these lines get violated. I'm not someone who just sees a line gets touched and then I make a play. No, I look for things around it. But it is a good guideline, and at this moment, you would say, hey, if we are seeing reversal signals anywhere near this blue line right here, just like the weekly, we would say, hey, if we see reversal around here, okay, then we're potentially going to see that turn bullish, so we'll be paying attention. Just a note, like, if we would actually get a stock market crash right now, I just believe that people would be too right about that. We're also in a time of extreme fear at this moment. We're seeing, if we look out just a week in advance to the options of next Friday, you're starting to notice some things here, and you're going, wow, that's people are extremely leaning towards that bear side. So we want to see if that continues for a while and they get over leveraged, and then we see that reversal signal. That would be fantastic. So looking at everything and reading that comment there in the chat, I actually think that this would be a great way still to head higher for the SPY, and we'll see if that happens. The only reason I'm saying we'll see if that happens is because of volatility, right? Volatility really looks like, hey, I want to get some kind of reaction here. If it does, we really want to be paying attention to if this low gets taken out, we make that divergence point, because it's just such a good trade setup. I don't think you understand, like, these are some of the best ones. When you get that flagging out right before the weekly expected move, you see it mess around in here for the morning, see a sell, and then you see that come down to the weekly and then bounce off it, and you go, okay, awesome. This looks like a perfect 30-minute floor for that 2 hour to finally make that move back to the upside. And that's when we could potentially V-shape. So I would really be watching out for that, and then really be watching out for the head and shoulders. So for most of the day today, I'll be staring at a 30-minute chart. Is 590 still a strong support? Yes, it is. 590 is still a very key level for the entire week, Alex. That's why we kind of just showed you all the put call volumes there for Friday. Friday, you have, it's the biggest one. You have 101.3K open interest there, right? So, or 595, sorry about that. 595, pretty important there, but 590 for today is important. Sorry, I mixed that up. But for today's expiration, 590 can be important, right? And you see all the call side activity. So if we do see an upward move, what if we get another flush to get people real bearish, and then we go tag 590, which is potentially down towards our weekly? We can cut it even for a little bit, right? We can cut through this 590 for a second here, see that come down, see that buy come in to give us that wick. That would be nice. So we'll just watch how it forms throughout the day. I know everyone's going to be paying attention to Nvidia. Nvidia, for me, I like to, you know, I did see a lot of people going into like a lot of technical people, even I respect, going into Nvidia on shorter time frames. And I think they're more so paying attention to those levels, right? Like 135, like 141, like 125. Okay, we're not losing 125. Very interesting setup there. Okay, we can see what happens. But we look at the daily chart, and I would rather be looking at daily charts and see what the shape of the thing is, and then go, okay, if we get that positive move, well, then this all might end up playing out, right? We might see a decent size move up a little bit here. So if all that would play out, well, earnings would really launch that to start. maybe we would break through, retest that 141.12, and maybe this is the actual opportunity. We'll see how this shapes up, but this is more so what I want to be paying attention to. I don't think I'll be trading Nvidia, but I'll still be watching it. Then the other thing is just, do we actually cross down, right? Do we close below the 200? Because then you're like, okay, we cut the low and go make a new one. So there's definitely two ways for this to go right now, which is perfect because earnings is a 50-50 flip. Something else that was very interesting about this move so far, and why I'm kind of leaning towards upside. I mean, I'm not really necessarily like taking a play on it, so I shouldn't really saying that, but I really believe this might play out to the upside with the structure and the fact that we got that retest of the golden pocket like perfectly. So this is a great retrace from a great move, just an absolutely explosive move. Thank you for the 2-hour divergences, Nvidia. Explosive move pulled back. The 2-hour is deep though, and that's a problem because this means that even if you make that upward move, you are very likely to see, okay, can we reject at some time and make that a lower high? But for now, I want to see if that can launch through, retest, and then go again. I think that would be the best way for this thing to start moving to the upside, and we'll see what happens with earnings. Apple, we did discuss Apple on the in the show last night because we were paying attention to this, and I shouted out the Patreon members because when do we start to pay attention? Well, once we actually start to tag some key levels, and we did know 250 was the key level to be watching, and we go just tap our head on that, and then it falls down, and that means that, hey, now this is maybe a signal that would play out, right? This would be a highly likely signal to play out now because we have actually hit that 250 level, so we want to see if this 2 hour is going to start to close below the 5 and then head down to lower levels, right? This almost looks like a little mini Meta, a mini Palantir at this point, that you know what happened with Palantir Meta. They ended up seeing a drop, and I'd be paying attention to 240 first. Just like this white line here, and we talked about those zones, right? This is a zone. There is a pretty decent sized zone here. So what I can look for is maybe a little 30-minute divergence in here that turns to the upside, and that's all I need to be really watching at this moment. But if I want to make it even more simple, all I have to do is know that this is an important level right here. If we curl down to those levels and then we curl up into positive territory again, it is very likely we are going to test the high and go make a new one. And as this is so drawn out, I think it's very likely that this would be your first big push that gives you the divergence point. So I believe that this might be the big push, and then you see that reversal signal later on. So that's what I would say for Apple. I think Apple is about to go through some weakness. Obviously, we can get it wrong, right? It can just curl up. So you have to have your plan for if the trade goes wrong for something like Apple. Now, Tesla is the interesting one for me as well, right? We see the 2 hour divergence, very rough, like very big, not like the most significant, but it is there. So let's pay attention to it. And if this 2 hour does cross up, that can be a good thing. But once again, Tesla has this super deep 30-minute. This is why I want to see that positivity for a bit today, then just see some kind of tap. I want to see that positivity, then see some kind of, right shoulder in some way. Really want these things to build up well, but if the 2 hour crosses up, that would be divergence. That says that the daily chart can start to see an upward move. And like I said, I don't want Tesla to go below I don't want it to close the week below these levels. It really starts to open the door for 250 for Tesla. Yeah, that's a rough one. AMC had earnings, and we're really watching this 2 hour right now, seeing if that thing will curl up into positive territory. Just so you're aware, AMC did just have their earnings, and I wanted to look at some stuff for you guys on my other charts. But AMC needs to curl up on this 2 hour to really say, like, yeah, we're giving you that head and shoulders, just very elongated head and shoulders. We're going to continue the positive move, even though this is negative. So this is negative. We want to pay attention to lower high, right? And the daily scale, right? We need to be watching the daily. If this crosses down, we form that divergence. This is when I will really like the play, and things will most likely be very cheap. So Yeah, not the worst. Now, I want to see how GME's doing. Hey, it's starting to bounce off that floor, right? We talked about GME, how we could be seeing potential support come in soon as the daily chart does make these. As the 4-hour chart shows that a little more clearly, if that 4-hour curls up, I'm going to probably be saying GME is going to get a big move on Monday. Now, that means we could test these highs potentially, right? If this 4-hour goes up, it just means, hey, we could potentially test these highs. Even if the 4-hour goes up, we could just be getting to 28.58, right? We could be getting to these levels and doing another moment where we have to do that small pullback, right? So we'll be watching this for the most part, but we just got to see how it shapes up by the end of the week, I think, for AMC and GME. Sorry, I'm just trying to get through some little topics that have been in my head for a bit. Oh yeah, I wanted to check this. See if this ticked up. Ever so slightly. Tuesday, AMC's short volume did tick up just slightly from 1.7 mil to 2.8 mil. Pretty good increase there, but nothing crazy. But it does tell us that something is going on the short side of the stock, which can happen a lot of the time with earnings. Okay, let me get a setup over here. Oh, there were a few plays that we need to discuss that we went over recently, right? JPMorgan. Let's talk about JPMorgan. Remember, this was the great trade setup. Remember, my first target was right in here. We actually were there. That's where we made the first divergence point around that area, but very flaggy, failed again. We do have another point of divergence still kind of holding here. So we'll see if this reaction is going to come to build back over time now. This would be very interesting to head higher this way. It would look almost identical to the SPY, but the 2 hours getting really beat up and it looks like some kind of reaction can come. As of this moment, that would be a 2-hour move that is more likely to be a lower high, just so you are aware. This is a very, very deep MACD at this point, so just be open to that thing failing if it does catch a bounce at some point here. Meta in the same scenario, right? The 2 hour, these are plays that have just been fantastic. The 2 hour can see that extended move, but just know that a lower high is still the most likely scenario with the positioning of the MACD. The 30-minute chart is suggesting on the RSI that you can catch some kind of 2-hour bounce here, so let's be watching out. This could be a short-term base, this could be a long-term base if we're able to V-shape. But at the moment, if we're going to take our time in creating this base, then we're probably going to be paying attention to behavior like we did over here. If you remember, over here, we did make the 30-minute divergence down in here, then we made another 2-hour divergence down in here before we bounced up. We pretty much had triple divergence here. So this time we have no divergence, we just have a super deep MACD. This is why you're going to either need to create a base to bounce or V-shape. And one thing I would say is, since we're going into the edge of the channel and you don't really want to lose that for a longer period of time, this potentially can V-shape, and that's all we're paying attention to. If it's not going to V-shape, we're not going to see, you know, these things really set up. We're not going to see something like this if it's not going to V-shape, right? We're not going to see this build up, break down, build up, break down. We wouldn't see that. If we're going to V-shape, okay, we're not going to see this 2-hour make a divergence, right? We're not going to see this go up and fail. We are more likely to see this go up and produce some more positivity with that V. So we'll be watching it. Hopefully you guys are ready for today. Hopefully you have your plan set. And Meta outside of a weekly expected move. Remember to be checking on those weekly expected moves coming in. Like a big red candle. MSTR 125 pushing, only 25 likes, the vid peeps. Hey, thanks J-Rod for saying that. Can you go over Walmart? Is Walmart WMT? Yeah. Okay, Walmart for the most part here on the 2-hour is kind of what we're suggesting actually. This is very interesting. So you have like a 30-minute, just a real crappy divergence, but it's there. And that causes the 2-hour to react. You see how that 2 hours reacting? But is this a strong floor, or do you think the 30-minute needs to make a higher low or even maybe a lower one, right? So the way that this heads up, I think now, is either you continue that positivity and get some kind of 30-minute, you know, lower high at some point. VD, thank you for subscribing. So you need some kind of lower high, whether that's up here, whether that's right now, that could be good. But if this is going to behave like a bear market, then this could potentially continue for a little bit longer, then fail, give you that double touch and give you that double bottom. I think that would be fantastic to really solidify like, hey, this is a strong 2-hour base. Now, the good part is you can watch that 30 minutes, see if you're getting a higher low, and then know the 2 hour is going to produce more. And if the 2 hour produces a lot and you see that 30 minute catch a great move to fill this gap, all you have to do is see that 2 hour bounce off of the 5 that's starting to stagger back up, right? And that's all I'm looking for this guy. So Walmart, not a bad find. The daily chart is down by the center line again. The only thing you have to be aware of is if 2 hours just make moves, don't make divergence, don't make higher lows, right? That lower high is what we want to be watching. And there's a very big reason why we want to be watching that. We broke out from these areas. This could be something massive to the downside. The reason for that, daily divergence, right? We have daily divergence on the MACD, a little bit flat, but on the R side, a little bit more significant on the R side. So we're watching for if we do this and fail. And some of the times you actually see this react all the way up to here and then fail, right? Double tops do happen. 73K Bitcoin, let's go look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still dropping off. People are reading into this very, very heavily. Just note that we are paying attention to signals for the SPY. If we're going to see it move in tandem with Bitcoin, we will see signals. We will see a 30-minute probably cross down today if we're going to see more downside. That's it. Very simple. But this is bad, right? What did we say? Once you start to close below 91.8K, it's going to get bad. It tried to be positive, failed on the 4 hour, and it never came back since. And that's just how it goes, right? You got to be quick with it on Bitcoin. For this right now, you are in the last part, right? We said you start to lose this little block in here and it's going to be problems, right? You can go down to 69.5. You can go down at the best, maybe 73K. So 73K is actually, did someone say that in the chat? Monumental targeting 73K. Yeah, 73K is the first level that I really see. A lot of the time you won't test it exactly, like especially with Bitcoin, you won't get that wick exactly unless the order is right at 73K. So that would be interesting. 69.5 would be a little bit more interesting, I think, because it would allow more buyers just to step in, a little bit more liquid at that level. So I'd be watching that. You don't see anything from the 4 hour. You don't see really anything from the 2 hour. I think you're going to catch a bounce soon, but it's Bitcoin. It doesn't have to. So in order for me to see a bounce, I better see some great signals. I see nothing here right now. So this would be a very sketchy place to make a decision, in my opinion. On the hourly and 4 hour. I don't see it on the 4 hour at all. I mean, that's a tiny divergence. I would give you 2 hour. If you extend it out to an hourly, I get it. It's just I like the it to be more extended. And I think you realize, like, okay, if this gets a great buy, if this gets a great buy below these levels, you're at like the line in the sand right now. So if you go down like this, you need that buy to come in. So if you're saying, you know, this is a potential floor for Bitcoin right now, then I think you're saying, hey, this is going to V-shape by the end of the day. That's what it seems like to me. Nvidia is just like, we bought Bitcoin too, and then Bitcoin goes up. So we'll see. It's nice though. Falling wedge as well. I don't think so. I don't know, though. I haven't. The thing is, that was my first time looking at Bitcoin in a minute, so I believe you, Dave. You're pretty good with it. You see my comments. MSTR. MSTR, though, is just if Bitcoin's dropping, MSTR, you know, we talked about the risk of this stock, guys. The risk of this stock, we've talked about this so many times. And guess what? Go back to this point right here. Go back to this point right here in our videos and tell me what levels that we were pointing out. We were pointing out this block in here, and then we were saying, okay, or right in here. And that's if it gets bad. And what were we leaning towards? Well, retest of the breakout area. We ended up getting there. Hey, it took some time, but we're there. And now you're oversold, and MSTR is absolutely has crashed, right? This is what people don't understand. Like, this is a crash. Like, I want you to understand that is a crash. It's just a really extended crash to make more people lose more money over time with options. That's what it seems like to me. But this has crashed. Now it's 50% cheaper than it was 3 months ago. So if you're someone who really wants to buy MSTR and it's 50% off from the high, you might be looking at it. The 200's right there. You're retesting the breakout area. You just got to go a little lower towards 227, 228. Then we'll see what happens. But this doesn't have reversal signals. This thing is pointing straight down. Okay. If he starts to lose Bitcoin, here's the thing. If MSTR starts to lose Bitcoin value, like if a big sell comes in and it's not them, and then they start to lose money on their Bitcoin position and then they sell their position, yikes. Dude, yikes. Like, yikes. That's gonna, and then what if they report a loss on Bitcoin? I mean, oh my God. I don't think they were going to do that, but for this type of move though, you're looking at this like, there's nothing. There's 30-minute divergence on the RSI. That can get you a huge whopping flag. That can get you a huge flag to go up to that 5-day and then reject again. So MSTR is going to need Nvidia to say something fantastic about everything. That's what MSTR is going to need. Need 200 off at 3 contracts. Is the sound not working? It should be working just fine, Matthew. So make sure to maybe hit the refresh button. Sorry about that, bud. Alt season about to take off based on the charts. Bitcoin looks bad to me. Yeah, Bitcoin doesn't look good. Some stuff that looked interesting, actually. For some reason, I have these two. I have Mudang still. And then Bonk, you know, these things. I was just looking at these based on market cap, actually, and these are two that I found that were really low market cap that I thought could be pretty funny. So interested to see if these actually make a run, but I don't think so. That's just for fun. But yeah, alt season might be about you. Who knows? We're about to see potential squeezes too with AMC and GME, so who knows? I think you're getting close to those type of moves. Are you going to be live market open? Yes, Mr. Positive. We will be live at market open. We usually stay live anywhere from an hour after open to about 2 hours after open. That's usually how long I try to stay on. Did I miss SPY analysis? Not necessarily. We're going to talk about the SPY the whole time. Right? So doxing, just so you're aware, the analysis is, if you really want to see this thing go up in a positive way, 602, come back, retest 595, and then see that left head and right shoulder. That would be great. But something I want to be aware of is if people aren't bearish enough and they want to make you more bearish, then you're going to stay like this, right? We're going to stay like this, maybe trickle up a little bit, come into here, reject from those levels, and then turn down and give you this and make you real bearish towards the end of the day. Then we're going to see a 30-minute divergence start to show its head right before Nvidia earnings. That would be a crazy setup. That would be a crazy one. Guess who picked up one Tesla call on that jank divergence? Richard's living dangerously. Who the heck is my stuff? That's a company that deals with rare earth metals. Team, you're on it. We're a small crew of 157 people, including myself. And what company do you think is best that deals with rare earth metals? Someone's just gonna like mention gold miners. All right, let's see what else we can get to in here. Oh yeah, we did look at Starbucks. Let's go take a peek at what that thing's doing. This was 2 hour. Yeah, so this is where we want to be watching that 2 hour if it crosses down. But just note that if we start to violate divergence, this can continue up. But this really looks like, Meta. Doesn't this look like Meta 2.0? This looks like Meta 2.0. Right? Here, I'll show you Meta. Look at this. Long, 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 one little blip, and then divergence. Well, let's look at Meta. Long, 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 one little blip, divergence. Bad things happen. So Which one is that? Starbucks has a good opportunity here to pull back pretty aggressively. Yeah, and here's the thing though. You have to understand, we're talking about that, and when I say things like that, people think I'm bearish on it. I'm not bearish until the signal tells me to be. I'm not bearish till the signal tells me to be, right? That's it. I'm waiting. I'm chilling. I'm going, okay, there's divergence on the MACD and RSI on the 30-minute here, right? We see it flat. We see it down. Okay, it's a little wonky, but I don't have weekly or monthly expected moves, right? So it's a little bit more complex of a trade. So I have to add all those things in and be like, do I want to take the risk? And then once I take the risk, I'll have my plan set for if I need to get out. Right now, you have this 30-minute. I think if that crosses, that might be the potential trigger to say, hey, I think this thing might cross down on the 2-hour, and I think that thing is going down sometime in the next, say, month, right? Give yourself plenty of time. If I say it's gonna hit here by Friday, that's how much time, that's what I have to see. But if I say it's gonna hit here by the halfway through March, oh, okay, maybe a little this. Oh, we hit it. Right? Oh, or maybe then this and this. Hey, we hit it. Right? I have a lot of time. But if I take it here, it's just like, I need that to happen. It's not the best sign in the world. Unless I'm planning to sell those contracts just when we touch that 5 or something. So you see how spreading out the time a little bit helps me. Of course, Loma, aka Bernie. Caterpillar, let's go look at the cat. The kitty cat. Caterpillar, I don't like the signal here for sure. I just don't, because it made you lose the tapering. So once you lose this tapering, you have to be open to fresh new signals. Now, this is still closer to the center line. You still see it on the MACD, but just notice the RSI wiped it out, which means you always want to be aware this could still be a decent reaction, but then you could fail to get that double touch. So just be aware of that. Obviously, if you start to make higher lows, you're good to go, right? If you see a strong move and you see a higher low, the area I would probably pay attention to is right here, 368.70, around that level. Boom to here, go like this, because you do have some great resistance that could become support in this zone. So I'd like to blow past that zone, then use that as some kind of support to head higher, and that would give you your structure there for CAT. So that would be nice. Now, I do want to see how extended this is. See, and this is the difference, okay? And the difference is right here. This signal right here is a lot like this signal right here. But notice this one failed to take the 5, rolled down, manage the trade. That's your plan if things go wrong. Because last time, it went very, very right. So you see a good example of how these moves should go when the trade's going right. And then you see a good example of how a trade is going wrong and you need to manage risk. And now you're making that second point. Right, so that's really cool to see on a chart like back to back. That's really nice. And since those divergences are there, I want to check the daily. And yeah, you actually do. You have a small form of daily divergence here between this low right here and this low right here. So if the daily does cross up, you wouldn't have that on the MACD. So still be open to lower high. But if we're able to go higher and then use the 200, we can be off to the races here for CAT. So we'll see. Apple to the downside, yep, hit 250, so downside very likely. MP and EFR for rare earth. Thank you so much, Matthew, for the response. AMC has a mining company. DAX, yeah, we've been paying attention to the DAX. This was one, I believe. Come on. Come on, it's loading, it's loading. It's always like this when the market first opens. You know it is. And of course I type DAX like right when it opens. There we go. So we were looking at this from the daily scale and just going, 1, we most likely have more pullback to do. 2, is that pullback going to continue right now? Well, let's look at this 2-hour chart once it does load, because everything's being slow right now. We'll have to see. QQ, how do you personally manage your long-term stocks during these big corrections? I have not held an investment for a while now. It's been a while. If you guys remember my channel, even a year ago, I said the only thing I'm buying is TLT. I've been saying that for the last year. I was like, the only thing that I'll buy is I will buy back and forth investing in TLT. Other than that, I don't trust this market at all, and I think it's more of a trader's market. Now, from this 2 hour, you want to see that the DAX could turn to the downside, right? This could be that retest of the breakdown area where you actually curl down again to the downside and you see this produce a further dip, right? We want to really see if this can get down to these type of levels. That would be the good daily pullback. It might take some time to get there, but overall, you're just seeing, hey, can the 2 hour, even if it makes a divergence, right? If as long as the daily isn't curling back up, you are in pullback mode, just so you are aware. Now, to touch on that point for the SPY, I wanted to show you this weekly chart, right? And I don't think my drawings or anything are popping up, but that's fine. We can still chat about it. So there was a reason that I stopped overall holding my investments that I bought down in here again, right? I saw the floor, I saw a little bit of rip around kind of behavior, and then I go, okay, now I make a decision and hold on to some of those investments for some time, sell out, right? Once we see that cross down, get back in on a weekly scale, and then I'm just holding with those amounts. But here we go. So once we see that explosive move, we know, hey, this is a pretty bullish market. I could hold on to those investments. And I just started to trim, but then I started to more so trade the options, right? Trade options while we're forming these divergences. Once I saw divergences, I go, I am out. I think at these levels right here towards 575 was when I was completely out of all of my long plays. And I had trimmed them down significantly already. So for now, once I see these reversal signals, I in no way want to be holding stocks long term. Like, I think this is the worst area to hold stocks for 12 to 24 months. And I'm still saying more upside can come, but the risk is always looming over your head, right, of something crazy happening. So I'm not going to play around with that. I'll trade the shorter time frames, but I will not risk tens of thousands of dollars in the market at this point. I just will not do it. I will still make money every month with my little $500 to $3,000 option plays, so I can still make money. But investing, I'm looking for the dump. I'm looking for the monthly to get down by this center line again, just like the last time. So I'm looking for this. I'm looking for this to happen if we're going to correct, and then we can turn to the upside and I can get back into those plays. That's all I'm looking for. If we're going to crash, okay, then crash. It's a bigger discount for me. I don't care. I'm paying attention to down here because that's probably when we catch some kind of bounce to then curl down again, right? So that's how I think about investing. I think it's like, hey, yeah, buy at the right point. And then once I start to get almost like, okay, we're probably going to make a top, even though it's on the weekly scale, it's going to take time. I don't mind being out of that and trading more instead. Yeah, Soroki, I hope that's a good question. But what I usually say, and what we say a lot in the course as far as the investing portion, is once I start to see weekly divergence is when I start to go, okay, maybe I look for something that's a little bit cheaper. You think we'll bounce at the weekly for the SPY? I think that's a high likelihood. I think if you really want people to get bearish, a better thing to do is let them see lower prices, right? Let them see this low broken. I want you to, just look, SPX 500 on the daily scale. Come on, please load. On the daily scale, people will be freaking out a little bit if you start to cut these levels. Right? We see how obvious that is. Cut these levels, cut these levels, cut these levels. So if we do that, people will start to potentially pile on bearish positions, and then we just see that thing wick back up and see a big move. That's what we're really watching here. So looking over at the SPY, I know I'm clicking around a lot, so we got to leave it on the SPY on this one so it doesn't load all the time. I think we have a chance to see that test of the 5, right? Maybe we just go dink our head on the 5 and then turn back down. Right? We want that to go like this. This would be the great setup, and that will take pretty much most of the morning this morning to do that. So we'll see if that's able to take place. So I'm not saying I think this is going to fully happen. I think it can for sure. I'm saying this is the best way. This is the best way to find the opportunity in my book. Right? I like to see that opportunity very obvious at deeper prices. puts will print at some point. Palantir did have reversal signals, and we did post that to Patreon, right? So Palantir here did have the reversal signals. God dang it. I meant to leave that on the SPY. And volatility is starting to curl up on the 30 minutes. So you could be getting that right now. That's why I really want this to load again. This is so annoying. There we go. Load there. See volatility trying to curl up, 3 minutes left in that. That would suggest lower prices. But for Palantir, Palantir has the triple divergence, right? We see that very clearly here on the 30 minute. We showed it off on the 15 just to show it to you, but this is 30-minute divergence. Why are we paying attention to that, Patreon members? Someone in the chat can tell you why we were paying attention to Patreon or to Patreon and Palantir at these levels. If someone from the Patreon wants to tell you what's there, hey, well, it's very important, and you do have a triple divergence on the MACD, a triple divergence on the RSI at the same time. Buy it. So there you go. Palantir is very likely to see a 2-hour bounce. Very likely to see a 2-hour bounce, potentially to $100. I think potentially, I think these are good enough signals that you can go fill that gap. But you are correct to point out, someone saying, you know, mentioning volatility. Volatility hasn't backed off that much yet. It hasn't even given up the 5, right? So just keep watching. But we'll look for if the SPY makes a lower low, this makes a higher or a lower high, right? Or we'll see if that divergence pops up at the same time as the SPY. Either one of those, great signals, but 30-minute curling up as of right now, trying to go to the upside even further for the SPY. So if this fails, might be a different story. It decides to dump today. Yeah, Samson, you got to be. It's difficult with Apple. God dang it, I did it again. I'm sorry, guys. It's difficult with Apple, but patience was your friend here. 250 was always the level that was mentioned, right? 250, 250, 250. This zone, anywhere in this zone, that should be producing good things for you. But yeah, that's unlucky to get kind of squeezed out on this move. Probably like, yeah, I'm going to manage the trade for a moment, but then you got to be noticing when this is curling back down. And that was a good hint there, but it's unlucky. It happens to all of us, you know. Oh, AMC released the 10K filing. What was in the 10K filing? What was in the 10K? I'll have to go look. Give me one moment here. Oh boy. Booyakasha. Good job, SPY. Keep it going, buddy. Nvidia starting to take off a little bit. I'm gonna look on my other charts so I don't disturb your you guys. Meta starting to take off a little bit. Nvidia starting to take off a little bit there. AMC released its annual 10K report providing a comprehensive overview of its financial and operational performance for the fiscal year. The report highlights key financial metrics, business achievements, strategic initiatives, and the challenges and risks faced by the company. Very nice. Yeah, you'd like to see something about the company, and that's very nice to see. Of course, it's around earnings, right? You know, you need it around earnings for sure. Let's go look at Nvidia over here. Yeah, it's not like the biggest move. We can get that 2-hour to confirm. That would change it a little bit. What was it? Was it Amazon outside of a weekly? A lot of things outside of weekly expected moves. Apple 250 was the reason was there's a monthly expected move there. So that area of 250, that hard number, very nice. Link for 10K above. I went long on SPY yesterday right before close. I'm targeting at least 602. I think so. I mean, it makes sense. I would just watch for this as well. All right, I just watch for the 5 as well, right? If I have short-term expiration especially, and I'm seeing this, I'm not really liking this so far, right? If that 5 comes down and you're holding little like almost double top divergence here, right? You see divergence between here. We're holding the points right now. If that 5 comes down, if this crosses down again, I don't think I'm too happy with it. And during retail hours, when they would probably want you to see the selling, I think something better would be to see some kind of good reaction and then see that selling go aggressive at the end of the day, right? We see almost like this mess around for a while, but end up here. And then towards the end of the day, you just kind of fall down pretty aggressively. I think that would be very interesting. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to leave you guys on the SPY for just a quick moment. I'm going to go use the restroom and I will be right back. Chris, I'm in the same boat. All right. Sorry about that, guys. You know how coffee does it to you. It does it to me too. All right, here we go. As far as data goes, you will get new home sales month over month. I really thought that would be ticking up. But that's for January. So the February one, the next one we need to be watching, that one will be ticking up, especially in DC. We'll see. But yeah, 9 a.m. So you're in about 14 minutes for me. Then you get some crude oil at 9:30. Still think GDP tomorrow is the most important thing. Wonder if people will celebrate that data and not realize that it's lagging data from January. Be very interesting. You're my boy, Blue. Google, yeah, let's look at Google. Google dropping one more time on this 30-minute, not a good sign. Very much so, very scary sign here. This is why I think you need to see that V-shaped type of recovery. This is why the 2 hour is what we were watching, and it just failed completely. So with that test of the 5, look at that little test up in here towards that breakdown area as well. That support resistance switched over, and then you ended up going to the downside again. So not a lot of reversal signals going on. This means you might be in for a bounce that leads to another bear trap. Yeah, a little bit of a problem. QUBT, we haven't looked at this in a long time. That's a 30-minute divergence, though. Oh, wait, no, that's a 2 hour divergence, though. This is nice. I want to see if it pops up in this, still holds on the RSI, because it holds on the MACD. Load, damn you. Oh my gosh, it held on the RSI. So this is stating that if this can take back the 5 here, you could end up seeing this daily reverse back around. Now, I don't know if that has to be some kind of move to take out this high, right? We're very deep here. So you can run into problems here, you can run into problems here, you can run into problems here at 1450, you can run into problems here at 1650. So you're just making sure to have that management of the trade plan figured out first, and then you just want to make sure all those signals still stay good. Realize that reacting to here would be great, then getting a pullback, then turning up would be a fantastic way to get back up to 1650 for QUBT. But yeah, you do have a 2 hour divergence suggesting this daily could be curling up soon. I don't know, Richard, what do you think? Should we keep it on there? We keep it on there. Apple's starting to get a little wick up there. Does not want to lose the important price. The important price is 241.92. Didn't want to lose it, so we have not had a close below the 243.30 level. That's kind of a big deal. I think it was nice to have a financial on there. I want to get it to the point where it's like insane how many are there. AKA like, you can have financial ones, we can have the indices, at least have the indices, right? If you have the indices, you can have a good inclination about a stock, right? If I'm trading a financial stock and I see financials go to that top, like XLF, go to that top side weekly expected move, and I see like JPMorgan or something like that has a reversal signal, that can help me put some dots together, right? It can help me draw the line together, especially if like XLF was showing it at the same time. That would be great. So you can do little things like that, but just the simple way is really the Robinhood way. It's just like, hey, you could potentially just calculate it real quick on Robinhood, on Weevil, on any trading platform, just by, adding the put to the call. Yeah, that's true. Okay, we're officially hitting the breakdown area, or the potential resistance that can come in now. We'll see what happens. Remember that 5 minute too. This was very important from the other day. If you were paying attention to the 5 minute like I was, remember we were taking that little SPY trade in here and I said, hey, I'm gonna sell half right in here. And if that 5 minute turns down, I want that to curl back up. And then once this happened, that's when I got fully out, because that started to lose the flagging that we did have here. You notice that we started to lose that in here. So that convinced me to get out at that point, and we were going negative. So the key thing here was Remember, we were looking for the 5-minute to curl back up. It never curled back up, just so you're aware. Now you have 5-minute divergence. Oof. Still think you want to see this 30-minute go more positive than this. Still think you need to see a little, well, it's actually not positive. See this, see a better reaction, better price action than this. DVD subscribing, what up? Spy wants to go higher. Spy wants to go higher. Oh, volatility not able to confirm the signal, rejecting the signal, which I think tells us a little bit something here. I think now with the morning price action that we're getting at this moment, here in about probably 8 minutes, we could say this is the more probable way to head higher for stocks right now. Talked about this earlier. Thoughts on Nvidia? I think Nvidia, I'm just watching the bigger time frames, looking at the daily chart. I'm just looking at the daily, right? I'm not going to take the earnings. I think if anything, this is what I'd be watching, right? The head and shoulders that's very slanted. And then if that's going to fail, you're going to just see that bad with the earnings, and then we're going to see this cross down and then take out the logo, make a new one. But if that's good, which actually I'm kind of leaning towards it good. I feel like the structure looks okay. And we got that perfect retrace, so really like it. I just want to see that breakthrough retest, and then the opportunity might be in here actually. You know, after everyone's done being nuts with it and everyone thinks that it's going to, you know, fall back down, hey, see that thing whip back up. So that's what I think is the real opportunity that keeps you the most risk averse, but this is all I'm paying attention to for Nvidia. I can go into the shorter time frames all I want, but if they just say a bad thing, then it's over, right? So it's like the signals don't have to get it right. Yeah, I got out of GLD. GLD going down to my first potential take profit, which was around this gap fill. We didn't really get there, but because we didn't get there, it doesn't matter. It's what's the money look like, and the money looked good at this point. It's exactly how much I wanted to make out of the trade, right? I already had an idea of how much I wanted to make out of the trade. So this here is going to be a big deal. Just a quick, you know, gain of about, what, $500 or so, right? Keeping it small, but a very good signal. So I think it was about 700 gain. Still keeping the play small, just making little bits of money. And if I do it at the right times, then I can have a very safe month of trading. Option play on GLD just looked very simple. It was take halfway through March. I think the reason I sold it as well was because I didn't have a full month. I think from these areas up here, I had actually March 14th. So not the longest amount, so I wanted to make sure to take profit on the good first downward move. And then if we see another upward one, I can reapply that position again. If like the 2 hour wants to cross up and make a lower high, I can do that again, which is very nice. So paying attention to it for GLD, but how this looks is just like, I actually started to scale into the play here. So this is where I started to place my orders, and I actually was seeing this and I was getting kind of scared out, right? I almost managed, but then I just looked at futures, and this really made me feel better about the play. I looked at the 4 hour on the futures and I said, if that thing crosses back down, it's going to be a mean divergence here, right? So that means GLD would likely fall. Well, this ended up curling back down on Monday, and that's when I felt very confident with it, and I go, okay, this is going to see a drop, and it dropped within like 24 hours. We saw way downward price action, which is just fantastic. So yeah, as far as that goes, it's hitting my first take profit. The money was really good, so I was like, I don't really need to make $1 million. We're probably going to see some support at these levels. Gold's been pretty good. I still think we have that opportunity to head lower before we catch this bounce. And then if I see a lower high up here, I can maybe reapply the position, right? So I'm kind of like, hey, even if I see the 30-minute do it, I can potentially take that position, right? If I see a 30-minute go like that and then drop again, hey, potential to break through this time. Yeah, it's pretty, the thing is, when it plays out that when it goes down that fast, when it hits target that fast, when you look at the futures and you see that, you're kind of going, and you have a monthly expected move to help you out with GLD. It's like, this is like one of the easiest trades of all time. And it's not like it was the entire time. The entire time you're going, man, this is holding up better, this is holding up better, this is holding up better. And then once it actually sees the downward price action and you see that confirm, especially in the futures, you're like, okay, bam, this is the easiest trade of all time. Like, really is. SPY trying to get some more upside. Let's see, should I be measuring like this maybe? I'm gonna do something like that and say if we stay in that type of channel, then I'm gonna still be worried up at these levels that we could drop again. Starbucks is starting to sell off. Starbucks, let's go look at that guy again. There you go. 2-hour divergence at the high. If I had a monthly expected move, this would be dope. Very dope, very dope. I'm thinking about it. I'm really thinking about it. Let's see. How cheap is Starbucks? And then I'll go into the 30-minute and see if I can find a little entry, if possible. Let's see. All 250. And okay, put's still good. What is it? Maybe like down to here makes a lot of sense. 105, that might be too far away. So probably like a 110. Or where's this high? Yeah, 110, 110, 111. So Starbucks can hold up at some certain areas, and you probably hear me talking out loud, just going like, what levels do I need to be paying attention to? Freaking A, dude. Why is this thing hurting me? So we'll look at those levels. I'm looking at the 30-minute for possible entry here. Hasn't confirmed down yet. Still waiting. A little bit aggressive. Still going to test that 5. So I'm going to be patient with it, but I'm going to look at this probably after the live stream. I'm going to give it some time here. I don't want to rush it. Just had that great gold GLD trade. So not really doing it. We had JPMorgan into GLD and now potentially into Starbucks. Like, these are just great plays. But, you know, eventually you're going to run it. You know, a lot of them are playing out, right? They're high percentage plays, but eventually you might run into one that doesn't. So just keep that in mind. Always have a plan for if it goes wrong. Big scalp for 50%. Let's go. Do you think it's more probable to knock its head into the 5 or hold it and keep going in the SPY? It depends on this buying here. I really want this buying here to really take off, and we get data in 18, 15 seconds. So I think it'll be based on that data, and I think you are susceptible of a drop here. We just want to see if like the data causes a down move, then we keep going up, then we keep going down, then we keep going up, then eventually we cross down as this gets to here, and then we see that divergence pop up. So we'll be looking for that. All right, we did just get some data. Thanks for pointing out the housing data, by the way. So new home sales is down 10.5%. Let's see the HGX reaction to that, because that'll give us a hint. HGX reacting poorly immediately to that. Able to react to a great level, though. So higher low is the more probable thing for the time being. Volatility, did that turn around at all? Not from the data just yet. SPY still holding up at that higher level, but the fact that HGX is turning down a little bit is something to look at. I'm going to go look at 10-year yield and stuff like that on my other screen for just a split second here. Yeah, probably a little further to go. I think it was the dollar looked like it wanted a reaction here. It does. Okay. Oh yeah, that's a double bottom. Oof, that's rough. Okay, dollar's about to make a turnaround. Wanted to show you guys on the 4-hour chart here. 4-hour chart showing extreme divergences here, meaning the dollar's about to whip around right next to our area. That's fantastic. So dollar about to whip around. Does that immediately mean selling? Not necessarily, but we can read into this and see what the SPY does here and say, hey, if we're going to see some kind of big crash, well, that dollar's got to turn back up, and that dollar will be turning back up now, is what it seems. So that means downward might happen, and then we'll see if that actually shows up. That would be very, very nice. Okay. 6. Oh gosh. Okay. God, I really want to look at Starbucks, but I'm gonna look through. I'm gonna look at Starbucks over here, see if I can find something. If I find something interesting, I'll point it out. I just wish I had a weekly expected move. When did this move happen? January. Oh, February. Okay, so we're probably not at a monthly expected move. Because that was January here, 107 to 113. So you're probably not at a monthly expected move for Starbucks, just to keep you aware. At least from what I see, like according to what volatility could be in the stock, it seems like this level would be a little less likely to be a monthly expected move. How solid is that move here? Let's see. That is a 7% move. It could be. It could be. Daily. Maybe the 20 gets tagged, or 105, or gap fill at 100. So not a bad look. I don't think it's too expensive. Do you have a dividend, right? I don't know if there's an obvious opportunity though yet for Starbucks. We'll find out. We'll find out. Let me look at something that actually has a move that I can look into, like again, Palantir or something. No. No. No, nothing really looks that great. I mean, SoFi's reversal looks pretty good. Google, oh my gosh, Google with the wick to the weekly expected move right there. That's kind of wild. Oh, maybe Goog's the one. I mean, this has been vomiting a lot lately. I feel like Google's really overdone here. See, 340, 30. What is it? 183. Ah. 30-minute. It's at the low. It's interesting for sure. 2 hour. And I'll look at chat in a moment. Holding there. Daily. What does the option look like for Goog? Why does Goog look so interesting to me? Is anyone else looking at Google? See a lot of calls coming in for 185 this week. Next week, a lot of calls. The next week, a lot of calls. Interesting. Not a lot of plays though. Some low liquidity. Very interesting. Just don't want to get overzealous with it right off the bat here. I want to wait a sec. I guess while the market's bouncing, it's doing pretty bad. Anyway, I'll keep my eye on that one. Wait for confirmation. Okay. I love Goog, but I have it as an investment. I have Goog calls due for a run up, waiting for the flush down to 165, 162. Easy macro, set it all. Plan to hold TSLQ for Tesla to go below 200. Amu's having a good day. Hey, Richard made some bank. Let's go. DXY turning up, but not DX1 is turning down. That's so wild. So weird. Die, Apple, die. Google bounced right off the 200 EMA, yeah. I was looking at the, I was just looking at that weekly expected move. Like, it looks super interesting to me. I think I might be looking at Google. I feel like Google, there's a couple things for this week. I mean, monthly expected move, you're potentially outside of that for Google. The Starbucks getting the reaction. I just didn't like the look just yet. Yeah, Google needs to get back right above that 182.59 level, right? And that's roughly where the monthly expected move is. And as you've filled all this, I feel like some buys probably will come in. It's just, and the last time we actually had great signals, it got the lackluster bounce. So maybe this tiny signal means something. We'll see. Starting to attempt, right? We'll see if that's able to curl up. But if that confirms up, I'm thinking this will at least take us back above that 182.59. Or we continue down after Nvidia. It could be. It could not be. All right. We're still paying attention if it wants to V-shape. And I think a lot of that depends on, do we form some kind of structure like this? Do we form some kind of structure like this? Right? This is the more risky one, but this is the more, hey, get them really, really bearish one. Did IWM double bottom? Potentially, actually, yeah. IWM right here, 30-minute chart. Do you see why this could be a solid move? There could be a solid move coming here, potentially for that to test 2250 again, 2260. So I'm still watching. These things look pretty good. Maybe we're going to see something crazy today. Who knows? Here we go. Looks fun, looks interesting, looks nice. Oh, cool. Oh, cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right. What if this is all a trap? Oh my goodness. It still could be. We'll see. Just remember, if the 30, this curl down over here, I don't really want to see the 30-minute give up too much, right? We can get a little curl, but I really do not want to see that. If it's crossing negative, I'll treat it very seriously, right? We want to see this extend, get us up into here before it's able to curl down. Nvidia delivers and PCE comes in cooler, we will V-shape and be at new highs in no time. Exactly, yeah. I think you're right in that assessment. That's why I'm looking for stuff with like dramatic moves down. I'm really looking for that, and that's why I think Google is interesting to me. Google, very interesting. Hasn't curled up yet, notice that. So we can easily see further downside. What do the Qs look like? See how the Q's divergence is kind of like crap? So if you hit there, you usually come down again. Interesting. Very nice though. They don't always match. They should always match. They should always, I've rarely seen them not match. When you see green, even if you don't see it visually, it is above the signal line. Now, it won't, sometimes it doesn't match the price action, right? And squeezes and things like that, but most of the time it'll match. The more important thing is just if it's crossed, right? If you see a little bit of green, it's crossing. Like that's how these are recorded, is the blue line goes through here, it's crossed. Yeah, Lurk and Luke, so same thing. I'm just wondering if we get here to add some probabilities to, hey, lower high, or if we are just going to reject right now. Like, this is where you're at the 5. Like, you're at the 5 right here. And if you just look at a daily, you're going to be like, oh, okay, 5's like right there. So it can catch up even if this stalls out for a little bit. But we don't see anything from volatility that suggests it should be ugly. The only thing I would say is we can get a reaction from volatility, maybe at this level right here towards that 1750. Get that retest, see that reaction. So if we get that, I would still be watching out if the 2 hour is able to curl back up, right? The 2 hour curls back up, it could be a pretty big problem, right? It could be a big problem. So we'll see if that's able to happen. This needs to V-shape, aka if you're going to V-shape, you're most likely either going to see two things. You're really, once you start to V-shape, you're going to see the 2 hour just keep dropping. You're not, once you're V-shaping, you're not going to see that 2 hour able to curl back up. Like, that's a big thing. So if we see that 2 hour curling back up, we should know, like, hey, volatility, let's watch it. Google still looks super interesting to me. And this is all, and let's just take into consideration that this is happening with retail as well. I really want to, if we're going to end up positive, I think they give you a scare intraday. They have to give you a scare. And see if that curls up for Google. I like that. Sure, we're 50% drop. Jesus. Yeah, we're still holding that. Unfortunate there. Qs, how's your buying look? Same thing. Same thing, still very flaggy. All right, we'll see. Ah, no, no, no. Lines. Yeah, we have actually, we genuinely have not even gotten that bearish yet. We might have a little bit deeper to go. This is not very bearish readings for the CPC. It is a little bit for the PCC once. But you notice we needed like 3 tags before we made that floor. So this would be very interesting. If you really wanted a V-shape, you'd like to see a spike where people just get really bearish. Very interesting. So I'll still be keeping my eye on if the SPY is actually able to turn down. But for now, people are shorting while it's going up. So this could be short squeeze like behavior where the price action's not able to go down, but people keep shorting it. Go over the SPY, looking for a 30-minute divergence, looking for a head and shoulders. That's about it for positivity. As we're positive, we'll talk about positive things. This, or this. If it goes negative off of the 5, then we're looking at this, and that. Yeah, but it could be, and I don't think you know, you understand how much it would hurt to take calls when this 30-minute crosses down, right? If the 30-minute crosses down, you can't sleep on it, and I think Jagger's fine to point it out. Like, we do have the dollar confirming a base here. We do have a lot of things going on, but it is showing positivity right now. At the end of the day, the most important thing is the price action. We can pay attention to that dollar trying to reverse back around. What if that just fails? What if it's wrong? Right now, this price action for the SPY is the most important. AMD, I just think the structure looks bad, but it can get a lot of help from the earnings for Nvidia. All right, Goog. Goog is starting to get a little push here. Come on, Goog. Do your googliest. Puts were cheaper than calls, that's for sure. That gap needs to fill before we go to all-time highs. This one down here, I think you could very easily, but you guys don't get it. Like, we could see a full 2-hour move before that happens. Like, how we get down to lower levels from here as we were oversold is like, we go like this, we trap some people, then we reject down and get to there. And that would be in March, right? That would fill this gap. I think that's how you want to get there, right? And maybe it is, maybe it looks something like this, right? Maybe we do see something bad. Maybe it does do this, right? Does this, does this, does this, then we end up there. That'd be cool. That would extend over the 2-hour, right? Because we haven't crossed that 2-hour up. It would extend over that 2-hour, get it down to a deeper level, just a little bit, able to draw that 2-hour up. Then the 2-hour can make that divergence around that area. But I think V-shape seems more, it's weird. It's weird to be calling out V-shape, but I don't know why. My brain's just been focused on it, right? Maybe it's just that intuition kicking in a little bit, but I think you got to be aware of V-shapes. Oh, it would be great, Mustafa, wouldn't it? I'm down for either direction, though. You guys know me. If I start to feel some pain, I get out. If I start to see it look good, look like good money, I'm out too. Yeah, quick sell would be great. But you are violating the flagging, the potential flagging that was taking place. So as you do that, it doesn't mean it's not possible. You're still at that 5. That could just be a reach up to touch that 5. And then there's some sell orders come in. But as you do that, it starts to become a little more probable to go just to here. And then we see something ugly that people really think is really bad. And then Thursday, you gap up. I'm trading like a cement wall. I'm like, it hits this, and this is my cement wall where we're gonna bounce that ball off of. You guys ever play wall ball when you were little kids? What up, Claudio? Check Google again. Wow. Hey, it's looking all right. You know, there's nothing crazy here. I mean, if I want to make it look better for me, I could look at a 15 potentially, see if that curls up and then make a decision. That's kind of what I'm waiting on for Google, just waiting to see if I can make a decision with it here in a moment. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind this at all. This, like, signals like this and us touching weekly expected moves are putting more emphasis on, hey, we could see upside moves continued right now. So we'll see. Hussy here. I made 1.6K already. I'm good anyway. Hell yeah, Mustafa. Congratulations, buddy. Last chance to fill the gap for bear before Nvidia, CPI, PPI. That's facts. I think you're right to point it out. But the thing is, what's your feeling like this, right? You're very confident, but I'm guessing you're not 100% because you can't be. You can't be 100% of the market. What do you think that gap means later if we actually go higher? Right? What if we don't fill that gap right now? What do you think that means? I don't know. Just wanted to hear what you thought. Then a big short's coming in the future. Yeah, it might be a level to bounce from later, right? Ba-ba-booey! SPY does love to fill its gaps. It fills like most gaps. I think it's like 85% of the time, maybe. It fills the gap within 5 trading sessions on the SPY. So, pretty crazy. Let's go look at volatility again here. Yeah, it's really dropping off now. Now, we could get that retest and get a reaction here. That's kind of what we're looking for. We're hoping the SPY can get past that 5. I really want to see us get that positivity. Not all the time, Mr. Pickle, but a lot of people discount. I think the reason that stat is so skewed, Mr. Pickle, is because you'll see a day, like a daily bar that looks like this, and then you'll gap up to here and then fill that immediately. And I'm guessing the data takes those into consideration, and then you turn back around. So those kind of like gap filling goes, I think they include that in that data. Yeah. Where they kind of retest off of the gap fill. So yeah, that data's probably skewed pretty hard. These are momentum indicators. So these are just momentum indicators, right? MACD, RSI, relative strength index, moving average convergence, divergence. So it's just to track momentum. So when a buy comes in, these are like signals that tell you whether that buy is causing strength or whether the buying is causing some kind of strength or not, right? If we see a buy come in, but this isn't crossed, we're like, that's still not like the biggest move. Amazon? I think Amazon looks super interesting. I really do. I've thought this in the video yesterday where we're gonna get that 2-hour reaction, right? But we didn't make that right shoulder that could have been. So you're like, hey, yeah, this market can't go higher. What if Amazon catches a bid here from our line in the sand, right? And ends up turning to the upside, maybe just for a few days, right? This could only last a few days. And then you reject from a breakdown area, maybe fill a gap, right? Maybe we do this. I'd really be looking at this though and saying, okay, oof, that looks like a problem. That looks like left head, right shoulder, but I don't think you're wrong to point it out. I just don't think you have fantastic signals to go with it. But if you needed some kind of snapback here, it's kind of like, okay, well, I could probably be pulling up one of these and just being like, all right, use these as potential sell levels. And you're noticing, what about Golden Pocket? Golden Pocket is right at a breakdown area. So 228 is what I'd really be watching. 228.50, 227 to 229. Yeah. As far as the SPY goes, the proper time to say enter a call is when you have those divergences. We don't really have those. So taking a call at lower levels, you just had it on the RSI. That's why a few of us took some. I'm getting out of that towards the 5-day. Already got out of them while I was clicking around over there. And then I started to look at Google, right? So I think I made like think I made like 4% on those calls because they took a little while. Did not make a good chunk there. SPY puts. This is the general area where puts might come in, right? Shorts, bears might try to take over at that 5, right? This is why we're paying attention to the fact that the 30-minute is not positive yet. We would like this to remain up in this area for a sec, then break down, retest, break down again, and then maybe in the morning we come down to lower levels, or we just see a flush to get people nice and bearish, right? This behavior makes people the most bearish, right? You see that bounce and then it just rips down. And this is the area where that can happen, right in here. So we're watching it. Do I think it's a great opportunity? You know me, probably not. Probably not good. I think this is the opportunity, right? I think that's the opportunity if that happens. I think what's the other one? I mean, I think this would be an opportunity, right? Left, okay, can we get there? And then we see this. I think this is the actual opportunity, not necessarily something right now. Not necessarily. No, I haven't used stochastic too much. I've pulled it up for a while. I just didn't see it helping me too much. It seems like if I wanted to put less risk in and take less plays a year, I could add another indicator like that and see if it's matching up, right, at the same time, and then use it. But I realized, like, okay, that makes me take less plays. So I was not too much into taking anything with stochastics. The thing is, it's like more information isn't better in my mind. It's the simpler I can make it, the better. Goog not happy. What do I think about Baba? Let's go look at Baba real quick. Oh, I think Baba's doing Baba things, man. We were looking for the 2 hour to pull back and the 2 hour to potentially give divergence here. It's just very choppy. So you're still looking for maybe that extended move and see something like this, but you're also just saying, okay, if that 30-minute curls back down, it's not necessarily a good thing. I don't think these are great upward plays. I think Baba's probably about to see a massive drop down to 120, if not all the way down to $100. That's what it looks like to me, but it could see a little bit of upside first. And then I think 120 or $100 looks nice for that. Tesla down 2% in 5 minutes. Yikes. Bad boy, Tesla. Tesla. Well, it's 3%, 3.25% in 30 minutes. So, is this shaping up? No, which means very bad things. This means very bad things for Tesla. This means Tesla could make a move all the way to 250 soon, right? It's probably going to catch a bounce before then, but this means it does open the door to 250. It opens the door to 275. 273, sorry. It's because I sold my one call. Yeah, you were ballsy taking that, by the way. That was a ballsy one. We kept saying that's ballsy, but if it does produce, it can look good, but AMD doesn't look good. AMD looks bad. It can catch a bounce with Nvidia. It probably has daily signals still, right? We've had daily signals on this for a long time. So I can read into that. I can not read into that. I can just go, okay, eventually this is probably going to see some kind of move. Wouldn't Nvidia earnings help that out, right? Are we holding every divergence? Yeah, so AMD can get a reaction here, but this would be a risk to reward play alone in my book, right? Before Nvidia earnings, I would maybe grab AMD a month out, see if that can make some kind of move to 116 or a even better move all the way up to 125.50. But there's nothing to go off of in the shorter time frames that really convinces you like, hey, this is great. Apple saw the wick up from the first point of support, right around that 241.50 level. It's probably got, it doesn't have to have more work, right? You're out of those oversold conditions. Apple can now continue to do what it wants to do if it wants to. That's the first level to hold up. I think you need to reach down to 240, but that's just me. The stock doesn't care what I think, right? Yeah, I think this is the perfect scenario now for this to happen. I really want to see that. I think this is good. The fact that you're holding in the flagging is very nice. I just want to see the sell come in. I'm not going to take a play to the downside because the real play is when I have more reasons to take it. Let's get a flush, please. Wait for 250. 273. Still watch 273 because there is a trend line there. And that would be where your top support is. My goodness. Oh wait, let me look at my other charts on Tesla to see if I can find any hints. Yeah, Tesla is sick, man. Tesla is going to land outside of a monthly expected move. And for the week, it's going to have almost a 2 standard deviation close. Weirdly enough, it really looks like the 30 minutes still might bounce. Like there's a good 5-minute divergence there or something for Tesla. So I'd still be paying attention to bounces with that kind of look. You're very oversold. You're still holding divergence on the RSI for the 30-minute. So, and you're outside of your 68% zones. So if I'm outside of my 68% zones, I'm not trying to pile on the shorts. If anything, I'm trying to find signals to potentially go long when I'm outside of a downward expected move on the monthly and weekly at the same time. So you not only have a 68% chance to get above 315 for Tesla, but you also have a 68% chance to get above 345 by Friday. And the same is almost true for Google, right? Google has that shot to get above 183 by Friday. That would be pretty wild. Man, that would be really wild. I'm down. Let's do that. That sounds fun. See a big move? That sounds good. We have big implied vol, so let's go. With a little bit more time, everything will become more clear. All right, we will see. SPY still holding. You say Tesla above 345 by Friday. That's what your percentages would say. It's very obviously as you get further away from it and you have less time, it's way less likely. But yes, Tesla above 340. 345, weirdly enough, I think. Yeah, 345. Big move priced in, bigger move happened. And now you have that shot, but I think it's not something to be like, oh, by Friday, I'm going to take a call for Friday at 345. That's not what I'm saying at all, right? You still have a 32% chance to end outside of it. That's what's up, Jagger. That's when it's the best. That's when that's when it's like the best, right? That's when it's like real simple. Bears taking over on the SPY. This is where they would want to do it. This right here is where they would want to do it. We'll see if that happens. Is the NQ simulator count then inverse head and shoulder possible? NQ, you want to look at it a little more individually, but still you can compare it to the Qs. You see the same 2 hours showing those that slight divergence here between these lows. It's nothing like crazy good, and you're still very much so just leaking out towards that 5. So it's very likely to do something like this And that'll be very nice, right? That won't look bad. And then that can turn around your 4 hour, and then your 4 hour still might have time, right? I'm talking about this. We could build up to that 5, we could cross back down, make that 2 hour divergence, then get a big reaction, then see that fail, then we actually see a floor. This could leak out all the way into the first week of March, and I think that's what we need to be watching here. But we're looking for potential bottoming out signals, right? If we see things curl down, it means bad things are gonna happen, but if we start to see divergence, that's what I'm gonna be aware of. We have a lot of things at weekly expected moves, so Google looks like it wants to see a good, decent bounce. Even Tesla probably wants to bounce at this point. Yeah, that's good, Jagger. A lot of the time, if you're like figuring out to take profit and then you see a daily expected move there, it's very nice. You're like, okay, I'm paying attention to an important level. That's why sometimes when I'm buying an option, I'll look at the daily expected move or try to assume where that daily expected move the next day will be. That's why we were talking about this level yesterday, right? We were talking about, oh wait, I guess we weren't live, unfortunate. But that's why last night we were mentioning this, and then we go, and a daily's there, that's good. AMC able to pick up some volume. No, nothing there yet. Very nice for AMC. 2 hour turning up? 2 hour turns up, you're happy with this. Are you live every day? Yes. Jay Thomas, we are live every morning. Yesterday we had technical difficulties, but today everything's functioning good, so that's great. Can't complain about it. Remember AMC, the reason I'm paying attention to this would be an easy way to get to $4 for sure, even maybe up to $4.37. GME trying to do the thing, right, where the daily curls right back up. That would be nice. That means it really looks like this is setting up like, hey, this thing could potentially go to like $32 again. Pretty crazy. Bibbs and Wyckoff, those are the best ones. When a ton of confluence around that area that you're paying attention to, oh, it feels good, right? It feels nice. It feels like everything makes sense, doesn't it? It feels clear. That's why I like it when that stuff happens. When everything's clear in a trade, it's very nice. That's why I was saying like the gold trade, even though it was complex for a moment, if you had a monthly expected move, it clears it all up for you. And then you just go, okay, this is an opportunity. And then it plays out really nicely to the downside. And you're like, okay, this is going directly to target very quickly. This is great. Maybe even weekly expected move comes into play, right? GLD did go down towards the weekly expected move. It almost got there. Just wish I had more calls. Hey, just appreciate that you had calls, you know? That's what I say. And then you're looking at Amazon, you still see a 30-minute at the 5 where it could see potential resistance as it gets a little towards those overbought conditions. It's not there yet. But you go, okay, this is great. If it wants to continue to go positive, that'd be great. And the buying was pretty good here, that because the MACD is just going straight up, you can see that just fill this gap and turn right back up. Right? That would be nice. Now, if you do cross, you want to treat that like it can touch the low or test the low and go make a new one, but then you just want to pay attention anytime that thing curls back up. Great move so far. Hopefully you just flag out and fill the gap like that, and then you turn to the upside. But right now, I think we got to be just watching like, hey, the SPY still hasn't broken through this flagging. It's still just sitting up there, still just testing in these lower areas for Monday. Let me go look at Starbucks real quick. No confirmation from Google yet. I just want to see what that thing's doing so far now. Okay. I really would like to see a little 15-minute thing in here. Even a 30-minute thing, that would be nice. See if that takes place. Still waiting for the 2 hour to fully confirm. Then we can potentially head down to, well, you're looking at 111.50 area, you're looking at that 110.50, you're looking at 110 in general, and then you're going all the way down to something like 105.50. So anywhere in here is what we'll be watching. But it looks pretty good. Looks like a JPMorgan or a gold. That's so crazy, Dubs, isn't it? I wanted to look at volatility. Yeah, I think this probably sees. Oh man, it's so weird. It's like volatility is saying like, yeah, we should shoot up here, but then the price action just doesn't. That did not do the best. Meta taking back some stuff. It's trying its best. It's right at it. Once again, you're seeing a lot of these look like this, right? You're seeing a lot of these look like this, and where they could just do that, and that would be the opposite. Like, I just think that more bearishness is what they want, right? These just aren't the crazy levels of bearishness to convince me like, oh yeah, people are extremely positioned. It's not like they can't be bearish, but the fact is, do they have money risked behind that bearish assessment? And that's the thing. Yeah, it might be an EMA versus SMA. Is Dixie breaking out? Yeah, Dixie actually giving it up. 30-minute divergence, so we might have a 2-hour pullback on our hands for the dollar again, right? Doesn't have to be to the upside, can fail. It's saying this is where we're gonna try. Oh, but if it fails, you gotta treat it like, hey, it is failing. But we'll see if that 2-hour crosses back down. If that 2-hour crosses back down and you cut these lows, very likely dollar keeps dropping off, like further down, right? Another extended move like this happens. You go like that. So it's a rip around kind of market. I would not want to be a day trader right now. I don't think right now I want to be a day trader. Maybe in a little bit, but not right now. Use log scale or no? No. No. Nope, I like my regulars. I think it's like log scale on like Bitcoin and stuff can be okay. Okay, Wall Street Ponzi. Maybe I'll start to look into that. It has the same signals. It has roughly the same signals. Bunch of divergences. One potential higher low. Daily scale going down, 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 down to test the breakdown or breakout area. Yeah. It can fail, but it's trying to create a base. If like gold is in there. I actually have no idea what the reaction would be. But the thing is, one thing is, if you don't know where that gold's at and you count that as like, we don't have it anymore, then you don't know where that's at. It's almost like, so like put it this way, if I had a high amount of cash, so the cash chart is nice and high, right? Let's say my bank account, I have $10,000 in it. But I had $1,000 extra. I used to have 11K, but I can't seem to find it. Or let's just say 10K. I say, yeah, I have it. But one day I look and it's gone. Well, then technically my cash has gone down. So gold, technically, I think it would be if the gold isn't there, then gold could potentially collapse a little bit. That's the only way that I can critically think about it, but I don't even know if that's correct, to be totally honest. Stocks that have crossed the MACD, but it's still 10% from the higher low. But the SPY would be down and demand would remain the same. Oh, the supply would be down and the demand would remain the same. Well, the supply is not technically down. You just don't know where it is. It really depends on if they don't know where it is. Because did the supply go away? Your supply went away. The supply that everyone knew about went away. So that could be the opposite reaction, yeah. But it's like, does someone have the gold or not? Who bought the gold? You know, who has the gold? What's going on? So we'll see. But I don't want to read into it too much because I don't know the actual reaction. That is a extremely rare case, obviously. Well, if you what is it? It's still a liability then, right? So if I loan something out and I haven't been paid back for it yet, then technically I would have a liability. I would have reserves almost, like a liability. I'm trying to think of my accounting days. And I'm pretty sure that's a liability. It's like accounts receivable or something, or accounts, I can't remember. Want to look at Wolf? Yeah, we can go look at Wolfie boy. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Yes, it's AR. Okay. I was thinking about it slightly correct. Wolfie boy not showing too much. I think you mainly just want to see 2-hour positivity if you want this to come back, but it is a retest. Like, look at that retest. It's fantastic there for the retest. So very interesting. Daily has confirmed divergence, but you see that daily kind of teetering like it wants to drop down again. But you have broken out of this. It's very interesting. You've remained in this for a long, long time. Yeah, a long time. So Wolfie boy, we can see if, like, for whatever reason, they've been, like, seriously fighting the stock, right? We can do this. And see how that's coming down. So that's telling me, like, they don't feel like they need to fight the stock. So I don't think I'm too hopeful for this guy. But if I follow the signals and the 2-hour crosses up, hey, it can see a positive move and it can get to 809. That was the ultimate target. From the lows was just like, hey, you got to break through 809, but we never got there. Wave goodbye to Apple, everyone. Yeah, Wolf, Terra Wolf. That on the 2-hour, a little scummy. So daily might show it though. Daily a little scummy as well. Not very good. I think you can see reactions here. You're just not going to have the best signals for it. Maybe you'll get that 30-minute divergence to at least give you a hint of where a low could be. And I think you have that right now. You just don't have it on the MACD at the same. It's flat. It's very flat, but it's upward on the RSI. So this means another reaction, but I'd still be looking at this very, like, okay, skeptical, very skeptical at this moment, right? Not seeing a ton of positivity. Fill this gap, turn back down one more time, really create those divergences for us that are very significant. And I think you really want to see that significant on the RSI and MACD at the same time if you want to treat the 30-minute like a hint, because you don't have a lot to go off of. So if this is going to be an opportunity, make sure it's an obvious one is what I would say. Does Tesla have a chance for an uptrend? Yeah. I mean, as far as Tesla goes, yeah. It doesn't look good. It looks awful. 2-hour, getting us complete V shape would be the only way to save this still to this moment. If it violates these levels, it's going to be rough. This is not even that good of a look right now. It really isn't. This does not look pretty. And so the only way that this really goes like that is just like that. If the 2-hour is able to cross up, it's that or the 30-minute has to build very, very well over time, right? We have to almost like fill this up into here, get that handle, cross back up, get that to dip down, see that curl up. If we want to build up over time, this, and that's where you just go, oh, well, as a market maker, V-shape seems easier, right? If people are very bearish on it, V-shape seems easier. Wonder what people are betting for that. Let's go see what people are betting on for Tesla by Friday. The biggest put wall at 200, 235 is next. but then you have 300 as a key level. So 300 is the key level you're at right now. And I believe you were outside of a weekly expected move. So you have reasons for the trade. It's just not necessarily grounded in reversal signals and price action. It's more grounded in outside of weekly, outside of monthly, with 2-hour divergence, and that's it. So at this moment, it's like, okay, yeah, Tesla actually can get to 357 by the end of the week, and it would make sense. Isn't that crazy? Tesla could, once again, Tesla could get to 357 by the end of the week, and it would make sense. So isn't that crazy? So just be paying attention, and if it's able to curl up on a 2-hour, hey, well, 357, right? If it wants to be positive again, it needs to react up to here, see that probably pull down and do this. And it's that simple. And if it does do this, then you have a high likelihood to curl up a daily chart. And that's been given up for a while, so a lower high would be very necessary here. It can be a whole new sequence of stuff, right? We can end up just seeing this over time. And see if we get a double top later. I think lower high is what we need to be watching here for Tesla, though. Tesla is not giving me encouragement that this market's looking fantastic right now. You know, it's really not. I do love my Democrat soup. Oh no. What happened? Instant defense, I gotta know. If you don't work and only day trade, swing trade, are you only taxed 10%? This is my first year after losing job of 13 years and age 52 that I am trading as a living. I would highly suggest going to a tax person. I would highly suggest looking up some kind of tax firm that can help you with that situation, because it could be completely different based on the type of plays you're taking. Is it Woken hates government efficiency? Tesla can easily gap up and only give a day and be up 10 to 15%. Seems like that soon. It kind of does, doesn't it? What about Nvidia? Nvidia has a head and shoulders. I mean, I really think that Nvidia is going to be good news, but I'm not someone who's going to play it. I'm not willing to risk money. So it's kind of pointless for me to tell you which way I think it's going to go. It's a 50-50 flip. You have a slanted head and shoulders to the upside from what I see right now. Do you think Palantir? I think Palantir could see a reaction to $100. Yeah, Palantir has a great wedge, great 30-minute divergence, very simple trade to see. Very, very simple trade to see. It's just that buying hasn't fully come in yet. So if we need to make another divergence, what if we do something like that really quick? But I think these levels are what I'm paying attention to. I still think we could see that reaction to the $100 level. The daily's been pulling back for a decent amount of time. You get a couple days of positivity. This is still going to potentially round out a little bit, and then you curl up into positive territory. 2-hour move to here would be first. Maybe it even blows past that, gets to here, right? We talked about this too, monthly. This is the most likely area for Palantir to land by the end of the week. So if we get that 2-hour strong move and then you come back down into that, that would be nice. And then you actually go like this, left head, right shoulder. That would be amazing. And you have great reversal signals from Palantir now, but you're seeing if you're going to make another one. This is not buying that gets you excited. Palantir will squeeze if Nvidia pumps. I don't know the correlation between the two, but I do know a reversal signal when I see one, and that's one of them. It's just very flaggy at this moment. But do you see this? Remember we were talking about those gaps always fill? See the little gap up, then we fill it, then we'll see what happens towards the end of the day. End of the day is when big money comes in, so that's usually when I make most of my decisions. Sometimes we'll do it, in the morning, but most of the time at the end of the day is more important for me. SPY is going. Come on, get there. 602, 602, 602. Who's got the 602 level? $602. Just remember that the big put level is still $595 for Friday. So if we do turn down, look for that 5.9, you know, a move below it, but look for us to bounce back above 5.95 by the end of the week. That would be interesting. I had 602, but I sold it already. Yeah, as we approach the 5, not a bad decision. Yeah, see? Talking about getting bad decisions, not bad. If you make money in the play, is it really a bad decision? You know? I know how I think about it. Let's go check on our buddy Google, because that one was very interesting looking. Still nothing, not even this 15-minute trying to do the thing yet. But at least now you have a confirmation. This might be where I make my move, though, and then scale in if it drops a little bit more. Trying to decide if this is enough to go off of. Give it a little bit. Any gain is something. Do it. Matthew's like, Matthew's probably in it, huh? I just hate that the divergence. I'm gonna do this. Okay, now we see something, but I want to spread that out. And then it looks the same, of course, because I spread it out. Of course, it's gonna look the same. I mean, it's a great fill, and no real support came in at these levels. Very interesting. Like, no real support came in at these levels. I think it's really due for that bounce. All right, we'll pull the trigger. We're in the last bit of this 15-minute bar, so last 2 minutes here. It's not the best confirmation bar, but hey, we'll take what we're given. I'm gonna go for the quick move because I think we could see that that potential V shape. So I'm gonna go for the quick move and only take 2 weeks. Yeah, I just want a quick move to like 182.50 would be nice. Anywhere in here I'll be happy with. Just take back that 5. If we take back the 5, I might just sell half. Quick move, 2 weeks. Yeah, that is a quick move for me. This is very quick. Watch, I'll do something for you. I'll show you how quick it is. You wanna see how quick it is? See. All right, so 2 weeks is 336 hours, even including Saturday and Sunday. And there are 8,760 hours in a year. I'd say pretty quick. I'd say that's pretty quick. That is a 3.84%. So I am taking a trade based on 3.84% of the entire year. Is that number huge or is that number small? It just depends on how you look at things. That's a very small trade. That's a short-term trade. Excuse me. Okay, you win. We're just different. It's fine, Brian, you know? It's cool with me. Some would say average. Something I know a lot about is being average. I wasn't gonna tear up today. And then someone said average. Shut up, Richard. I already got Google for July. Okay, so you're playing the longer outplay. Yeah. I thought about taking a month, but I was like, hey, if I'm thinking there's going to be a quick reaction here from Google, then let's just play the quick reaction and be done with it, right? Try to keep things small, try to keep things quick, try to keep it trading like water. Well, yeah, I think we looked at Walmart earlier. I mean, we can go take a look again real quick, but Walmart here, you just got to be aware that this 2 hour does not have reversal signals. This is great to build up to this level, and it just means I need to watch out for lower or higher lows. Higher low here would be great. I'm almost treating it like a cup, right? Getting all the way there, get that small handle in here and see some good upside. Some interesting things here, right? Tiny little things in here to get you higher. But if that 30-minute crosses, it's still, you know, in a worrisome spot. So I wouldn't be bullish until that turns back up. Then if that can curl back up right here, I'd be pretty happy with it. Looking at the bigger time frames, how long has this thing been going down? Pretty decent amount of time. It's by the center line, so it's the perfect time to reverse around for Walmart. But a pullback on the 30-minute is what I'm really liking to look for. VIX is at the 5-day. This is where we look for reactions. Nvidia still ripping. That's worrisome. Like, honestly, the worrisome thing before earnings is when something just rips, but it's still going to be 50-50 flip. Sorry about that. VIX finally coming down to that 5-day. Very, very close. I think it was up here a second ago, so it must have just shifted down. That's probably the setting I do have, right? Wait for time frame close. It might shift a little bit, but there you go. Testing 5-day right now. Sometimes you got to give it that little reload. Yeah, so this is where we can see reactions, but is the SPY to a key level? Ooh, it's at the 5. So if it's here, I'll still pay attention if something small happens, right? Right, if we end up here without curling this down, that's fine. But if we reject from here and curl that down, break through this, it's really looking like we're going to go, okay, we're going to end up down here. And then we would see like a quick move for a 30-minute divergence and then be like, all right, cool. Things look good. Yeah, sometimes I got to reload it, Richard. Sometimes the 5 can be funky. Like sometimes you just click around a little bit, click a setting off and on. You'll start to see it move around a little bit, but is that worrisome when the market is up in response to funding bill passing SMCI? Because before, because why is it worrisome? Because if it's more worrisome because you're getting bullishness to come in before any data has been given. A lot of people who trade for a long time would say the better thing for Nvidia to do before an earnings would be to get people bearish, and then more traders that I respect would take the opposite of that. All right, because they probably have levels, maybe even monthly or weekly expected moves. But as you do this, it goes, okay, that's positive, that's positivity. Can we curl up the 2 hour? It's still good, but I'm always worried about an earnings all the time, right? I don't know what way this thing wants to go. This technically is a good thing to break to the upside, so you're hoping that news is good, and this news plus a good Nvidia earnings is probably how you see that massive move up. But that's all speculative because we have no idea what they are going to say. And if anything, they might just be getting puts nice and cheap for their friends by causing the price action to go up and get retail to buy calls. And then it actually goes down while all the rich people are buying puts. Or the Wall Street's actually buying puts. Right? So there's a lot of worrisome things that happen when a stock goes up this dramatically right before an earnings. There's a lot of things that happen to retail's mental that can really mess them up. That's why I'm saying it is worrisome. It is. It is worrisome. It's 50% worrisome if you want to be exact. No, in Oakland, I've said the same thing. I've said the same thing where I'm like, everyone's kind of saying like crash, crash, crash. We're in extreme fear. We haven't celebrated those yields possibly coming down. We haven't even celebrated a cut yet. So we could have more time, run into something bad. Maybe Nvidia earnings is even bad, but I still think we have potential to base out. I do. Nvidia earnings can send us lower too, and I'd still potentially be saying, watch out for divergence. I genuinely will, because I will not let one little thing make me bearish, you know? Yeah, see, we're in the same thing. It's just, I think you're confusing like how I kind of have to talk about something with earnings. And I talk about it that way not only for, you know, new people who are learning about earnings, but for myself to remind myself like, hey, this is still a risky thing. Even if I'm seeing positivity or negativity, however I read into it, it's risk. And most likely you're being set up for something. So you might go look at the order flow right now and see if that upward move is causing a lot of buying of like small orders of calls, and see if you see one big order of puts come in all of a sudden at the end of the day, and then you're going, okay. Is that a guess, or is that millions of dollars being, is that $1 million guess, or is that a $5,000 guess? You know, but that just sounds really complicated when I could just look over at Starbucks and see a decent signal. Looks really complicated when I could just look at Google and take a signal, and if it doesn't work out, manage the trade, right? It's just how much stress do you want? I don't want a lot. I have enough. I'm a first-time dad, man. I don't want more stress. Come on at 3:30 just to see if it happens. Yeah, that's usually when I'm starting to prep for the video at night. So I'll probably be watching it, but it's hard to do live because I'll be prepping for my show, my YouTube video. YS waiting for that poll. See, even you know it's bad when YS is agreeing with me a little bit. Yeah, YS. Hey YS, I'm gonna go talk about meme stocks for a sec. Be right back. Should have kept my HIM spot at the lows yesterday. Damn, unlucky. Dark pool's super negative yesterday. Hey, I donate you $100 a week. Do what I have. I ran into that trap. No, I ain't looking at that YS. Yeah, I was the monkey see, monkey do kind of guy. But of course, you know, if you donate $100, I'm looking at a stock for you, Richard. But I think it's more like you're just hanging with me and we're looking at stocks together. That's what it feels like when it comes to Richard. SBucks doesn't make sense to me. Laying off staff, coffee beans have skyrocketed in cost. People have bought the at-home coffee pod makers, and consumers are stretched and less likely to spend $9 on coffee. Exactly. I think Starbucks is the easy trade. And you just listed off a lot of the fundamental side, which makes it even better. By the way, that's a short trade, not a long trade. But I still like to look at charts. You know, people buy things for the stupidest of reasons, right? Pokemon cards are worth a lot, right? So if someone really big wants to buy Starbucks, it can go up. So I'm still waiting for momentum to give the signal to say like, yeah, we're going down for Starbucks. But when it does go down, it looks like a Meta, it looks like a GLD, it looks like a JPMorgan. Not a lot of people yelling TG. That place loses money a lot. I'll just put it that way. I've watched enough of that. Hey, that's dope. But I own one Pokemon card, and I found it in the street 2 weeks ago, and it was an Eevee. And it was all messed up, and that's the one Pokemon card I own. I think my wife has a bunch of them, actually. No, we sold those. We sold all our packs. TM, happy Friday. Let's go look. Oh, and Eevee is my wife's favorite Pokemon. Eevee, and she likes Flareon. Very nice. TM. Once again, look at this. Look at this. All right. This is almost like the Meta, like the gold, like even Starbucks. This is what I'm saying you could run into, right? Starbucks could have awful stuff going on, but then see something good happen. So you still want to be aware if that's happening. That's why you're kind of waiting for at least the confirmation of the 2 hour, because this is what it kind of looks like right now, but it doesn't have to give that negativity. So you want to make sure to make that plan in case it starts to slowly go wrong, right? Because I don't have a monthly expected move, but for TEM, this was great to pull down, even while wiping out divergence though. So that's a problem. So I really think this might continue. Actually, if we're able to take back that 5 and keep going up, hey, I think that might continue because these weren't the best reversal signal at the end of it. Usually you want the end of it to be good. So we look at the daily chart and we go, oh, that's why. Okay, so the daily chart was really extended, and now we're going to maybe go to my golden pocket, right? Maybe we're going to go to a golden pocket in here. So if we pull this up, we go, okay, oh, we're so close to getting there. We literally 54.32, we went to 55.85 area, and we started to experience a bounce. So very nice. Can we make floors better? Yes, you can still reject off of this and curl to the downside, make a double bottom. You can see this react up a little higher and then hold the 5. But it doesn't look like the worst. It looks like it's just still in daily pullback mode. Baba's gonna have a terrible daily pullback soon. It will. It's just, like a lot of these plays are hard to decide when. That's why you want to be, if you're looking at these, and you're looking at these going into next month, guys, calculate monthly expected moves because they will help you a lot in times like this. That's why GLD was good. That's why Meta was good. JPMorgan, little risky there, but I believe someone in the chat actually gave us the monthly expected move because they calculated it and that made it a lot simpler. If Nvidia beats and provides decent guidance, retail is so bearish right now and lots of shorts expected Nvidia to fail. Yes, and that's why I keep shouting. I'm like, for some reason, my brain keeps leaning towards V-shape, but it's how does that V-shape come? Does the V-shape come from this to get people more bearish, right? Really get them to where, like, if a squeeze happened, it would cause them pain, Oakland, you know what I mean? If that downward move happens, tell me right now that retail would not buy shorts here. Tell me right now that they wouldn't do that. They would, right? I feel like they just would have to. We would see it. We would see divergence. We would see them getting very bearish. We're seeing them go bullish up towards the daily expected move. Like once this is actually coming down, it's right as we're towards the daily expected move. This is exactly what we pay attention to. So I'm just thinking, is the job done? Are people really that bearish, or do we need them to get more bearish for a moment to really cause that slingshot to happen? And if all that takes place like right before Nvidia earnings, like today, that would be very cool. Thank you for your service and looking forward to learning more about the new service you were talking about for TOS and other platforms for all stocks. Was Google at an expected move today? Google is below the weekly expected move. I just wish we hadn't moved up like this already, as it likely already mushed many out of their shorts. Exactly, and that's why they might want to do this. This will make all the people who shorted here go, ah, shoot, we're bouncing, right? That's what's happening now. I better get out of that. We might be turning around here. Boom, it goes like that. Once it gets down to here, those people, they might have even said, okay, I'm going to buy calls. Then it goes down like this, and they go, okay, I'm going to buy puts. Yeah, see, I told you it's down. I told you it's down. I told you it's down. See, we're going to break through 587. We're going to $500, right? That's how they think. And then it just goes bink, and then the key thing is, the other thing is, this is happening during retail hours, okay? If you're going to see a squeeze, normally you'll see it to where they cannot participate, right? Why did you see all of this selling? I think they wanted you to see all of this selling. I think they wanted you to see all of this selling. I think it's retail, a lot of retail, I think, selling as well. I know this is where big money is already getting out at the highs. You know, Wall Street's getting out up here. And then comes down, that's when you sell. It's just rough, and I think we need to figure out, is the job already done? Do we have enough retail bearish, or do we need to make them more bearish? Yeah, so I'll be looking at this level if we get there. And you notice that would actually make the divergence on the MACD and RSI during regular trading hours. It'd be nice. And all that has to happen is to get retail really bearish going into tomorrow is all that has to happen is sells at the end of the day. That's all that has to happen. Nvidia calls. Let's go SPL. Hopefully you're making some money there. Microsoft, how's she looking? Then we can go look over at TNX or something. But Microsoft, 30-minute divergence in our zone. Fantastic. That means 2-hour move to the upside can happen. What's up with the 2-hour? We have big divergence all the way across, not on the RSI at the same time though. So it means something. It means this can still curl up. It would just want to build up over time, and then we see that daily curl up. What's the most likely thing for the daily? The most likely thing for the daily is to get a lower high. So a lower high in March. So something very cool for Microsoft, right? Maybe you're still thinking, I don't know if I want to join the Patreon. I don't know if monthly expected moves will really help me. What if Microsoft ends the month here, right? What if it ends the month in here and you get a monthly expected move right there? And then it daily moves up to there and you see a 2-hour divergence there and then it falls. Well, there's your lower high, right? The monthly expected move can really help you out, and that's what we give out on Patreon. But yeah, Microsoft looks decent here. 2-hour, not really the best divergence, but attempt to go positive maybe. 30-minute has it, so it's suggesting that's possible. Can you make a triple divergence on the 30-minute? Yes, you are still below the 5. So this is what I'm watching for now, right? Still negative. I'm going, hey, if I took this trade, awesome. I take the trade right here, boom. And then I'm going, okay, I'm making money. I'm about to run into that 5. So if this curls down from that 5, maybe even on a 15-minute, as that's not that positive, ooh, if that curls down right now, can't be in that. Why don't you set up a Discord? Just because I don't have the time to do a Discord, and some people actually, tell me, I hear this a lot, and I see this on Twitter a lot. People who start Discords, and if they're actually popular, apparently they get really, especially if it's free, they get a lot of bots. They get a lot of bots, and that's a big issue. So I've always thought about transferring it back to a Discord, though. I have thought about it. Happy Friday. We'll look into it throughout 2025, and maybe we'll take some votes and things like that on Patreon. I'd have to look at the pricing structure because, obviously Patreon, I'm not making everything from that. They take a cut. So I'd have to look at Discords and make sure on the business side of things it makes sense as well. Because $7 is pretty damn cheap. The house passed the tap. Ah, no! Went away. Ready for tomorrow. Bought UVXY calls and puts. Heavier on the calls. Both call and put relatively cheap for both. Risking a few hundred for 1,000 to 1,000 profit. Hey, that's okay, Matthew. It sounds like you've thought about the trade. That's awesome. I hope it goes well for you. I genuinely do. I really hope it goes well for you. I hope all you guys, even if it's a trade that's against me, hey, I hope I lose and you win. Because I'll be managing the trade, right? I'll be fine. I'll find another one. Even if you have a trade against me. Do we have a free market system? No. What drives our market? Money. Supply, supply, supply. Money, money, money. Profits, profits, profits. No, you do not have a free market system. Because if you had a free market system, then that would mean the market dictates exactly how big a company gets. So this is something that's very apparent to people who have been in marketing, like myself. A company is only supposed to get as big as the market sees it getting, right? As big as the market is willing to let it get. Actually, not really let it get, but make it. It's as big as they make it. So Apple is still a huge stock, and that's because people think it's valuable, right? People bought their products. But when we add in kickbacks from government, we add in, buybacks and things like that, well, if everyone wants to sell Apple stock, let's say someone wants to sell on one day, there's only 100,000 shares being traded, and those all were sold, but Apple just says, oh, well, we're going to use the funds and buy it back. It's like, well, then you're not letting the market decide. You're telling the market, and they're like, oh, we're going to buy 200,000 shares. Well, then the stock will go up, right? So do you live in a free market? You do if you completely ignore everything and trade with your neighbor. Yeah, and actually that's not a bad thing to say, Jagger. If it was a free market, then AMC probably would have been going up for the last year. Right? Retail has been holding that and buying more for years, and it still goes down. So you know there's money controls the market just in general. So the more debt, the more money pumping, the more things people can manipulate the market, right? There's still risk behind it, but if you can manipulate it enough, you can take away almost all that risk. With this administration, like regulations, like you just said, wait, where is it? The House passed the tax cut yesterday, which also included no tax on tips, overtime, and Social Security. Not one Dem voted for it. Yeah, kind of silly, considering even Kamala Harris said no tax on tips and things like that. Kind of silly. But I'm not reading into the political side. I'm just saying, if you have regulation, you have taxes, you have all these other things, that's not free market. Like immediately, if you have regulation, it's not the most free. Now, there is some regulation that is necessary. You know, you don't want it 100% free, probably, because that's where people could do things. You still have laws. Laws make sense. Regulation, a lot of the time, can make sense. But the regulation we're at now, you're at like, what? How many pages of regulation do we have? It's like crazy. What is it? Regulation. $30,000 is what I see. It's crazy to me. It's just like so many little rocks to move around. It's a lot. VIX bouncing on lower TF. All right, so VIX here, yeah, might be bouncing off that retest off that 5. May SPY and Q puts continue to be super cheap when compared to calls. That's kind of a big deal, isn't it? But maybe that's just intraday. We'll see. Let's see here. Whether anyone is buying them, I don't know, but puts are hella cheap on SPY and Qs compared to calls, in my opinion. Yeah, I think you're correct to point it out. Yeah, we can look at little 5-minute charts and stuff like that and just see the only thing you have is a slight little divergence as you hit the 5-day. So nothing really to worry about just yet, but this is where we can reject. So this is where we're waiting. We're waiting. Overregulated holds back innovation. Not all oversight is evil, but not enough characters here to keep going. Well, I actually think we innovated too fast. Yeah, I think we just yeah, I think we innovated way too fast. That's why we ran into problems like, you know, when cell phones came out, suicide rates went up. When smartphones came out, they drastically went up. for kids. So those are issues that we weren't able to tackle because we kept innovating very quickly. We didn't try to tackle any of those situations, right? And what allowed us to do that? Well, because we're in a debt system. So the government just pumps money. Just pick what the dates and strikes you're looking at. 30 plus days, either in the money, out the money. You see any pullback for NQ? Into what level? If it's at its 5, it can pull back. And condoms came out, sex increased. Yeah, it increased, but babies probably started to decrease. Yeah, this isn't looking the strongest, guys. We'll see. You know, we've seen this before. We've seen the SPY do this, and then just slowly just break through. But this is pretty slow. And it's a big move, so this isn't something to shy away from. But as of right now, that means Google is failing the move at this moment. Probably see another flash move down from that guy. Delta 72. Oh my gosh, I slept weird. My neck is killing me, guys. Killing me. Do you hate when you sleep wrong and you like can't turn your head all the way? I need to go see my chiropractor buddy now. It's the best part, right? Get your best friends, you know? You want to live in a free market? Trade with your buddy. I used to trade marketing advice to my buddy who's a chiropractor, and he used to fix my back. The no tax on tip and overtime was not in the bill, but 800 billion Medicaid cuts was there. Yikes. Waiter once told me his boss grabs the tip money out of the jar. That's so messed up in so many ways. I've worked in restaurants for a while. Yeah, Joseph, and I think this is it, Joseph, with your comment there. We still need to be critical of every administration, of every president. You still should be critical, but we try to support them, no matter who it was, right? I did not want Joe Biden to be unsuccessful because I didn't vote for him. That's silly. But did I like anything he did while he's president? No, not really. But I'm going to be the same way towards the new administration. I'm going to be hypercritical. If they do things I like, cool. I haven't read the bill yet, Joseph. Let's put it that way. These were typically made from animal intestines. Ew. You made ice cream great again. Our secretary's freaking awesome. Oh yeah, she's pretty great. I actually really enjoyed. I watched one of her briefings. All right, guys, it's unfortunate, but it's reaching 10:30 for me, so I do have to hop off. We are retesting the 5, right? We're still paying attention if we're going to see this or if we're going to see this. And remember, if this second part right here doesn't happen, there is no trade setup. So we will be watching this. I will be posting some things to Patreon if I see anything as interesting. I hope you guys do have a great day trading out there. Make sure to just be making your plans, right? We have a big event called Nvidia earnings, and that's going to be a big deal. So I would just be watching out for that. And make sure that we're watching our signals closely, having a plan to manage risk, or if things are going right, maybe have a plan for where to take profit. And that's always a good thing. Is it too early to buy APP? Is it just APP, or are you talking about Apple? APP? Let's see. Is it too early? Holy crap, what the heck happened to this guy? This is garbage right now. I don't think there's a lot to go off of here if that's what you're looking at. Just to be honest with you, Tina, that's a difficult one. You don't have reversal signals. You can just keep retesting. You need to wait till things look a little different is what I would say if I was utilizing my strategies. You have daily divergence here. This can get worse. You could just get some kind of 2-hour bounce that then fails, and then you take out these levels. So a little bit rough on this one, unfortunately. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I got to pop off of here right away. Oh, God, and of course we're going to see selling maybe come in right when I leave. That's so lame. But have a great day. make good decisions, and a good decision might be to make a plan in case something goes a little funky with Nvidia, whether that is smalling, making those position sizes smaller, or just having a plan for how to get out, how to stay in, where to take profit. Those are all good things. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day, and I will see you guys later on YouTube. Peace out.